Hey guys, Johnny Old School here, and I'm doing, I guess the first installment. Sorry, I'm a little buzzed. I'm sitting here, first installment of a series of videos I want to do where I just fucking sit down and I fucking talk to cool people. And this motherfucker right here, motherfucking, do you want to use your real name on the internet? What do you want to, what should I fucking call you?
Yeah, you can use my real name.
Alright, fucking Taylor, alright.
Yeah, I'm Taylor, Big T.
Big T, Big Daddy T.
Yeah,
so...
Yeah.
Big T. I met this fucking asshole when I first came to well, not when I first came to Calgary, but maybe like a year after. And I started working at this fucking beer hall.
Yes.
And I started working night shifts with this motherfucker.
Yeah, we did. We did that thing.
Working as a fucking fry cook. Oh god, man, those fucking closing shifts. Those fucking
You know, and I'm still doing it, like, and it's just like, I don't even, like, all the days just kind of blend together into this smooth kind of surface. It's like, it's like you can almost feel as the days are blending together as smooth as the steel is at the end of the night. After
you wipe it all down.
After you wipe it all down. It's like, alright, we just clean this shit show up again.
Yeah. I think we kind of like, I mean, like when you're working like closing shifts at work, right? Like, the only thing you have to do after work, because it's like 2 in the morning, and you're still awake, and you don't work the next day until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Yeah. The only thing left to do is like drink with your coworkers.
Yeah, well, I think we did that a lot. We definitely we had some interesting times.
Yeah, a couple interesting times.
Couple interesting times.
Yeah. Yeah. This motherfucker though, this guy plays probably the meanest guitar I've ever seen in person. Maybe I'll cut to a clip right here. The thing that's fucking hilarious to me, dude, is that, like, I would come over here at, like, 3:30 at night or something like that, and we'd get wasted, and you'd turn up your fucking amplifier to, like, full blast, and just, like, shred for, like, an hour, and nobody would ever complain about noise.
Yeah, never had a noise complaint here.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, I've had noise complaints because, like, I had a movie up slightly too loud and somebody could hear, like, some of the bass sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and this was just all night, like, it was, yeah, you would expect, like, maybe even, like, a knock on the door or, like, a note or
like,
something.
can you kindly stop being an asshole?
Yeah, can you just kindly stop playing heavy metal all night at maximum volume?
Yeah.
I don't know how you, like, the walls must be made of, like, depleted uranium.
Titanium or something, like.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this. How did you first get into music? Like, I assumed you just, like, picked up a guitar one day when you were a kid, or you're like, that looks fun, I want to be a rock star.
Well, actually, like, I was in art school because, like, I had really bad ADD, and my parents thought it'd be better if I did something in the arts.
Yeah, like a creative outlet or something.
Yeah, so we had an art school. I actually re-met a couple of people I went to school back then with, but anyhow, so we did this art school thing. There was drama, there was music, there was a bunch of stuff in the academics there that were part of it, so you had to, you know, participate in everyone had to learn an instrument. And I originally started playing trumpet, and I always liked metal, so along with playing trumpet, I saved up my hard-earned money and bought a guitar as well.
Yeah.
And started playing about, say, I'm 23 now, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
I was 12, started playing trumpet, started playing guitar, and I was always self-taught for most of it, and always kind of just picked apart, like, really old school metal songs, like well, not super old school, but like Metallica was a big one, like Megadeth, Iron Maiden was huge, and that was kind of what got me into the whole music scene, is because I love that kind of music, but I also listen to like symphonic stuff because I was in band and we would always play that kind of stuff too. Classic rock, my dad always listened to, so I was used to that. So it was pretty easy to like that kind of music.
Yeah.
It was pretty easy to pick out parts that were like, you could tell like, oh, this would be fun to play and challenge myself.
Yeah.
So I would always challenge myself to create like a match to that song. I could play it to a T of what that cover was. So like, if I was playing Master of Puppets, I'd have to make sure it'd be a perfect cover. I would never, if I screwed up playing a certain part, I would start the song over again, try it again. And those are long songs, so you always, like, eventually started making sure you figured out where you're messing up and fix it, and then you get better and better at doing stuff with that and all kind of music.
Right.
And training your ear was a big thing, because like I was pretty crappy at reading music for a long time, and it was because like I didn't like the idea. I always like to figure things out with my ear because I had a good ear for things.
Right.
And then I found out like, oh, you have perfect pitch. I'm like, what does that mean? Like you know, well, like relative pitch is like, oh, I can tell this note is in tune. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, then perfect pitch was like, eventually I could tell like, hey, that's an A. Or like a B flat, like you're slightly out of tune, do this to make it better. And so that was kind of cool, and that helped me a lot with music. Especially ear, like figuring out how to play with anything, pretty much, like improv and everything.
So you're like mostly self-taught, right?
Mostly, yeah. Pretty much.
Like here's the thing, man. Like I know plenty of people who've like played guitar for like a number of years and are like self-taught. I've never seen anyone even close to the level you're at, dude. Not even close. Like, how the fuck did you do that?
Well, I mean, like, I was a nerdy kid in high school. It was just, I played music. I was in jazz and symphonic in high school. I had to be at school for 7 in the morning, and I left school at 5 p.m. Before and after school were kind of like, I was doing jazz or symphonic either way. So I would be doing music like 4 to 5 hours a day on trumpet, and then like I would get home and I would either play World of Warcraft or I would be practicing guitar kind of thing. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school because I was kind of I'd been taking Ritalin since I was fucking 5, and then Dexedrine and Adderall when I was like in my teens and stuff. So like eventually I was 16 and I got out of that completely, and that opened up a lot of chapters for me. It made me able to almost more discipline myself. I was it was weird because like I was able to just do what I wanted and what I loved rather than focusing on what I needed to do or something. So I was able to, instead of just, you know, doing what I was told or what I had to do, I was able to creatively open myself up.
Yeah, man.
So that was a big help. And then like, I had a few lessons here and there, but like trumpet was where I learned all my music theory, because at school they were teaching you all the music theory for that. So I just kind of transposed that to guitar music, and I knew how to read music from trumpet and everything. And then I developed techniques after I found out at a band, my favorite band still to date. I've kind of watched their guitar player and how his technique was done. He had an instructional video up from the early 90s that he kind of did, and I watched that a lot and played to what, you know, he told you to practice, and divided my time up, and so I was practicing upwards of 4 to 5 hours a day.
Jeez.
So that helped me practice, or that helped me get my chops up for playing and technically, and doing different genres too. Like I don't just like shred. I play multiple different genres.
No, I've heard him play multiple different genres. Like I don't know, man. Like honestly, like I'm sure I've said this like multiple times. Maybe I haven't, but like it's almost weird how good you are. Like it seems like it's almost like a superpower. You know what I mean?
Superpower.
It's like, because I know people who like teach music who I don't really see able to move that freely around the fret of a guitar. It's really quite incredible. So.
Well, I mean, like, and I've always been, I don't know if you know me, okay, so you know me. So I like to buy expensive equipment. So I bought expensive guitars in following of my favorite guitarist signature line and everything, all the equipment that I need to get that kind of sound.
You basically saw someone who you thought was like the pinnacle, that you idolized. You're like, this guy is the best. I'll get what he has. I'll follow his example, and I'll fucking channel that.
And to be honest, equipment really does. It is a big part of it, and it's not so much like I mean, like I can go and play a guitar in a store. I mean, it's not the exact same, clearly, but like I can now. I can go make any guitar sound good. But at the same time, when I was learning so much, having these instruments was a huge part of my learning. It helped me. It helped me have that perfect tone and clarity that I wanted to portray. It helped me. It helped me maneuver what I needed to do because I had the tools. It's just like being a chef and having nice knives, or you know, like, you know, being a race car driver and having a good race car.
It helps you take like a little more pride in your work too, I imagine.
Oh yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, it was a big motivation for me to practice a lot and play a lot, because like I spent all this money and
like, oh, I have a $10,000 guitar, I better fucking learn how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta learn how to use this equipment, and I gotta play. Or else, what was the point of investing in that? And instead of investing in you know, drinking so much like I was, I decided...
Like me!
Well, I mean, like, I still was, but at the same time, like, there was times when that's all I was doing, so I figured, like, invest in this equipment, and then that extra couple $100 a month is going to pay off this equipment rather than going to drink, so I have these nice things that I can use to help me better myself as a guitarist.
Right. So let me say this to you. You realize that someday you could be playing in a really successful band, right? Do you realize that yet?
I do.
Because I know like cooking's been your thing for a while, and he's a pretty fucking decent cook. I'll say that. You're not bad at all. You got fucking skills. But like when I hang out with you and you talk about music, like you talk about it on like a technical level, and you show an understanding and comprehension of it that is beyond somebody who just listens to music or somebody who really appreciates music. It's like it seems like that's like your main thing. You know?
Oh, it totally is. I would, if I could play guitar for a living, I would do it.
Dude, you
for sure.
You can.
You
can.
I definitely can.
Yeah.
It's I wish it was. I guess maybe I'm just not going about it the right way, or meeting the right people, or doing what I need to be doing. I guess I don't understand the business side of things. Yeah. And I was supposed to. I got accepted into Berklee College of Music in Boston, which is
fucking insane.
Best music school in the world. So I was accepted in, but like due to the enormous price tag and debt I would have lingering over my head for the rest of my life because it's ginormous, I decided that it wasn't the route to go apart from my scholarships, because it was just, although like I would have learned the business side of things, I would have learned a bunch of different things, the recording side, more in-depth stuff. Besides just my instruments that I could have learned, composing and everything, and lyricism and all that stuff.
But so, I mean, like, put it this way, man. Like, if one day I didn't see you in a band, like a good band, I would be fucking shocked. I would almost be disappointed. If like 10 years passed and you still weren't at least in some sort of upstart band, I'd have to sit you down and be like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing, man? You can fucking play some music, like. So I hope you understand that, like you already have that skill to do that. It's already there. So like, leave that door open for stuff to come into your life, to be like maybe someday someone's gonna hear you play and be like, shit, dude, you know, like I got a buddy who plays, you know, drums really fucking well, you know, maybe something like that will happen, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like, because you have like retarded technical skill.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
I'll ask you this, like, what is it about music that's so important to you? Like, why do you like music so much? Like, what is it that's, like, why is this like your fucking lifeblood? Because it seems like it is. I never hear you talk more passionately than you do when you're talking about like the kinds of music that you really love.
I don't know. It's because like I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not huge into lyrics. Like I don't necessarily listen to music for lyrics. So people are like, wow, that's weird. I do love lyrics, and there are certain songs that I obviously, like anybody else, will love for the lyrics. But at the same time, the music I generally focus towards is a lot more on the musicianship level, just because like it to me like, you know, when you go see, I don't know if you've ever done this, like a Philharmonic orchestra, and everybody is just so in tune with each other, everything's so profound that it sends shivers down your spine as they're playing. Like, that's the kind of feeling I get. It's almost euphoric when I'm listening and playing the music that I love. It makes me happy. Like, you know, it's just noise, it's just sound to a lot of people, and it's just pretentious almost to some because of the technical sides of some of the stuff I listen to. But at the same time, like, I kind of break it down to what it actually is, and I kind of see it for the same way that, like, the people that make this music, the reasons why they love it so much, and how it is just because the level of discipline, the level of work and time and energy put into this music is so profound, to me anyways. So like there are a lot of people that view it the same way, and there's reasons why that there are certain bands that I listen to that are as popular as they are when it seems unrealistic for what the kind of music they play. This is because there are a lot of people that kind of respect the same idea on that level. Yeah.
So what is it about music, do you think, that like because you're talking about, like, you know, you can go to like a Philharmonic and like you can hear sounds that like literally like send chills down your spine. Like, what is it about music that's able to do that? Because like sometimes you can get that feeling from, like, let's say like a really rousing inspirational speech, or like sometimes you can but sometimes you can, like, you know, you can listen to like some inspirational speech and just be like,
she had nice boobs too.
Well, there's that, I suppose, but like, ooh, those boobs. But
good thing she wasn't wearing a boob apron.
Oh, the fucking boob! You saw that video?
Yeah, that was amazing.
The boob apron, because
because you linked it on the one I posted. I was like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah, I like that.
Because why use your assets to succeed in life when you can resign yourself to a life of, what was it, like insecure mediocrity? I don't know.
But it was funny. So
it's just interesting to me that, like, music is like this crazy power. Like, you see like a crowd in front of a rock band that are going like fucking ape shit. Like, they're losing their fucking minds. Like
these white people are just crazy, crazy
like,
happy to hear this. Like, oh my god, the Tragically Hip are playing. I'm gonna take off my shirt.
I would definitely take off my shirt.
I would too. My tits are pretty nice.
Christ. I just find it interesting because, like, I can think, like, for me, I suppose I focus more on lyrics. Like, I write lyrics, and I've always written lyrics and poetry since I was like a fucking kid. But, like, I can think of,
definitely.
Like,
you've shown me a lot, and it's nice, and you've played guitar too, and it's good.
I can think of songs though that like certain songs, like, almost anytime I hear them, I can almost not help but being, like, moved to tears. And, like, these are songs that, like, I could never play at work because, like, they hit me so fucking hard in that fucking center of myself that I'm just like, them feels, you know what I mean? But, like, music is like, it's like a crazy power, man. Like you think of like back in the day, like Jim Morrison, The Doors, of like him getting hauled off stage for like inciting riots. Like, that's how powerful music can be. It can shape people's minds. Like,
definitely.
You have these certain like bands, like we always talk about Pink Floyd because that's one of the bands that we both really like. But I mean that band's probably gonna basically be around until a comet hits the Earth and burns up half of our technology and kills half of us. Like, I don't really see music like that ever going away, because even me, who grew up, like, that album was, like, you know, years ahead of my time. Kids today will still, like, listen to that shit and be like, wow, that's, you know, like, like, that's fucking powerful. I mean, you can build a skyscraper that's gonna eventually erode and you have to maintain it and whatnot, but you can, like, make these sounds that just kind of, like, stick inside people, you know? Yeah,
and in going to that analogy, but music is evolving, kind of like how you said, like, and like you look at bands like Pink Floyd and the bands they've influenced over the years, and that's kind of like that maintenance to that building.
Interesting.
Because you hear bands like my favorite, Dream Theater, and stuff like, all based around the progressive elements of like Rush, Queen, Pink Floyd, you know, like, and then like early Metallica, stuff like that, like, are all like they've all progressed in a way that's kind of like that analogy. Like they've developed new ideas by using the old tools given from those
working off of those foundations.
Exactly. So when you look at that, and then now newer bands basing that off the bands I like and creating their own subgenres of music. There's so many subgenres of music now, but like and to completely unclassify that music, it's all a progression of what started.
Yeah.
You can go down to your roots, your Beethoven and Mozart if you if you really want to, right?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I remember there's like an episode of The Simpsons. When I hear Beethoven, I remember this episode of The Simpsons where they're telling like old stories, but they use all the Simpsons characters, and Marge's like gonna tell Bart the story. He's like, "Oh, that sounds boring." She's like, "Is there anything boring about a young rocker who lived fast and died young?" He's like, "I'm suspicious, but tell me more." And then it's like a story. I think it was like maybe Mozart or maybe it was Beethoven. I don't know. I think it was Mozart, but it was like like young Mozart, but he was Bart and he's like fucking rocking around on the piano and shit like that and playing with his ass and whatnot. But it's kind of funny when you think like back then, like shit like that. Like I mean, well, maybe there wasn't people like listening to Mozart who were like throwing their fucking pantaloons on stage and shit like that. But I mean, it all kind of progresses from these little points, right? People draw influences. Like if you're a musical person, you grow up hearing something that you like and that influences you. You know?
Yeah, totally.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think people always find it different from like when they see me play or see what I'm into, and like it's not usually they're usually like, wow, that's really cool, but like they can never like relate to that, which is I guess like it's to each their own, right? Everyone's got their own musical taste.
Some people are gonna watch Transformers and they're gonna be like, that movie was fucking awesome.
And then the rest of them are gonna be like, Michael Bay sucks.
Yeah. So that's probably most of them, but yeah. Boom. Well, that leads into an interesting question. Do you think that there's any kind of music that's almost like inherently bad, or like inherently like if this kind of music went away, we would be better? Like, do you think there's any aspect of music that's like unhealthy or wrong?
No, here's the thing. Like, music is kind of like an influence, right? Your parents have influence on what music you listen to. Your friends have influences on what music you listen to. So in different parts of different worlds, they have different music that influences certain cultures and the way people are. Music's just always been around. The difference in the multicultural ways of music is incredible. I mean, like, personally, I'm pretty selective into what I enjoy listening to.
Me too.
In comparison to what like the average thing. I think a lot of certain electronic musics and pop musics are kind of ruining the idea behind certain aspects of music, but in the same, it's still a progression of what was, right? It's still developing.
Yeah.
So like, who knows what we'll see in 10 years, right? Of what people are trying to do. Yeah. And you know, it's cool to watch, but at the same time, like, there are certain aspects that I'm going like, oh, that's like I can't sit through a kind of being like that. But that's my opinion. Right. But like, to each their own, right? To each society their own.
That's kind of how I see things these days too. Like, you can almost like look at like music as like almost like food, like in the sense that like, you know, some days like I just kind of want like a shitty bag of chips to kind of satisfy me, and other days I want to sit down to like amazing like 10-course meal. It's like that's the difference between like, you know, some days I want to listen to a Spice Girls song, or some days I want to like put on headphones and turn off the lights and listen to Dark Side of the Moon, you know. And I suppose totally. I mean you can't really compare the two. It's almost like artistry versus kind of like I like in pop music to like when you go to IKEA and you see those like printed out paintings, or you can like they printed out like a million different of these images, and like, oh sure, people like this image and everyone can buy this image, and it's you know, it's simple to create and whatnot. And I guess there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I used to get like really upset over like pop music when I was younger. It drove me fucking insane.
Yeah, and, I mean, like I do too, but I still realize like that people will like what they like. Like, kids nowadays are growing up into that. You know, it's just kind of how it is. media influences it every now. Everything is influenced by your surroundings.
Yeah.
The way things are advertising. Advertising is huge. You know, like, you know, you look back down to the jazz days, like the 40s and stuff, like that's kind of what everybody listened to, right?
Yeah.
You know, it was new, weird, and then like they made the electric guitar, people thought that was weird, like the Beatles, and then look with the Beatles now, like the biggest bands and stuff like that, and you know, like, and certain bands like that I don't consider like to be, you know, super my preference in music, but like at the same time they've earned their own respect because they've done something different and they've created something that people like and enjoy, and they've expressed themselves. Yeah. So music is just always an expression of how you feel, and what you feel is good music. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting question. I'm gonna pour myself a little bit more of this delicious Johnny Old School Walker Red Label here. Okay, you know how HMV basically doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah.
Like CD stores got shut down.
Yeah.
How do you feel that like the new digital age has influenced the progression of musical development? Because I mean, certainly like the money aspect side of it is a lot different. I mean, it used to be you could produce like a fluffy pop album and charge $30 at HMV. And that's pretty much what I paid for the second Spice Girls album. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I actually bought that. Oh, you know what? I bought that album twice. Because I had my CDs stolen, and I bought it again. I should probably edit that out of this video. but
no, leave it in. That's hilarious.
I'm just joking around, but no, I actually did buy it fucking twice. Christ. But
wow.
How do you think like the digital era is influencing music? Because now I don't know if this is true, but to me I could almost think like maybe it's encouraging artists to like focus more on like making better quality music because maybe it's harder to sell. Maybe you have to put more artistry into it. I don't know if there's any sort of data to back that up at all. But
as I had the rapper not a tapper not a rapper joke earlier.
Yeah.
But like I think that there's a lot more music available now because of the internet, because of the way everything works now. How easy it is to set up a recording, like even YouTubers record themselves playing guitar. Like it's pretty easy to find somebody like me playing guitar on YouTube. And stuff like that, and learn on YouTube how to play instruments. Like you find a lot more talent now because of people have the access to these options and learning outside of just going to school. And to be honest, I view YouTube as a great learning source.
Fucking right.
You can learn so much if you take the time and learn, and you actually learn from it instead of just being like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to learn. Like, anybody can watch a YouTube video and be like, that's cool. But like, if you want to learn something and take the time to go over it multiple times and learn certain things, like you can.
That's how I learned a lot of songs on guitar.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned like a lot of stuff about video editing. Anytime like I'd be doing a movie review and I'd be like, well, I wonder if I could make like lightning bolt zap out of somebody's face. I would like YouTube like how to make lightning bolt effect in Sony Vegas 12, and I'd find a bunch of videos. I'm like, oh, 5 minutes later, suddenly I know how to do something I didn't know before. The internet's like a fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, like it's been like that for me with guitar too. And like you always find little tricks. I'm like, how does Joe Satriani squeal like that? Oh, that's took me 5 minutes. Now I can do that. And it's like, oh wow, that's easy. Like this just he's cheating. He's cheating. That can't be that easy. No, it actually is. But
I found for me like it almost seems easier for me now to like find music that I really enjoy because like back when I was younger I would watch a lot of much music.
Variety.
I watched a lot of much music. And you'd watch music videos. Sometimes you'd hear a band you like or didn't like, or you listen to the radio and you'd hear some song that was catchy.
The top 40s and stuff.
One thing that really helped me get into music was listening to Weird Al, of all people, because I would hear all these parody songs, but then when I hear the real song on the radio, it would remind me of something that I already liked. I'm like, oh, I like this music. And I'm like, oh, like Michael Jackson sang the song. Oh, interesting. Then I'd hear like another Michael Jackson song. I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome. And then I'd be like, oh, I like some of Michael Jackson's music. So
yeah, totally. And I think. Like for instance, like things like iTunes and stuff, and like I said, YouTube earlier. it allows people, like even bands
it's making
now,
it way more accessible.
Yeah, you can put your music on iTunes and charge whatever and get like a certain portion of it earned to you if people buy it. So like, I mean, there's so much there. So I think it's a lot harder. Like if you're going back to like the Zeppelin days, like where they lived in an era where they could play something and it was new music, right? Like it was a new genre or like a new style of music. And people caught on to that because there wasn't a whole lot of ways to find out new music. So back then, seeing bands like Led Zeppelin develop and Pink Floyd, which may have been considered new styles and stuff like that, developed into these huge things. Whereas now, there's not a lot that hasn't been done yet. There's a lot of influencing and there's all these subgenres and different bands of there, so I think it's a lot harder for musicians now. Right. Especially the amount of people that pick up a guitar and can learn a few chords to a cover and then learn a few more covers and grab or learn how to sing those songs. Basically, can go into a venue and play. Whereas like somebody like me who plays a little bit less popular kind of music can't really like go into a venue somewhere and just play music like that. Like I'd have to be super huge rock star to do something like that. And I feel like that's a lot more difficult to do. So like the business side of music is a huge thing to learn in that sense. It's almost like an art form as well.
So it definitely is. Of course it is.
So it's super. I think the internet's making it a lot harder to access for musicians to make their self-known. At the same time, people who do bring forth those new ideas and that do get noticed, it seems like it's helped a lot too. Right. And it's also making music a lot easier to be shared. You have a lot of people, so it's got its ups and downs. I think there's a lot of great in it and a lot of things that can hinder it. So it's I mean. And you're starting to see new companies now that are trying to like get those artists and trying to kind of pay those artists to get known and stuff like that. And the same with like YouTubers and stuff. People who like stream on Twitch. Like it's the same idea. So it's seeing that stuff is cool. So I mean, we'll see where it goes, but like it's just so easy to find music now. It's so easy to find what you want to hear.
It is, I mean, I can think of various times when I've been on various maybe mind-altering substances where I didn't really know what I wanted to listen to, but I kind of had a string of search terms that I could type into YouTube and be like, this, and this, and I'd see things pop up, and I'd click one and be like, no, not that, no, that. Oh, this sounds nice. Ooh, and then all of a sudden I'd find some group. There's a CD called, I think it was called "Hymn to the Immortal Wind," which was very kind of heavy ambient, like it was an absolutely beautiful and intense album, and I mean, I could have never found that back in the days of just radio and much music. In fact, that sort of thing wouldn't have even really existed. You could maybe go to a CD store and look through some alternative section, see maybe some weird picture on a CD and be like, oh, I wonder what this is like. Maybe I'll take a chance and buy it. But here I can like click it and be like, ooh, I actually really like this, and so that's kind of cool. But here this leads me to another question. How do you feel about music piracy?
Well, I mean, like, I don't think there's really any avoiding it. I can't say that I haven't pirated music before.
I've never pirated anything. Ever.
I think that every time I watch a video on YouTube, instead of downloading the song and paying for it on iTunes, which I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, I have about $300 worth of music I paid for on iTunes. Like, if I like the album, I'm gonna buy the album. That's just the way I am. But at the same time, I think that I personally, as we know, we don't make a lot of money, so but we love music. We love listening to our music, so sometimes we go about it pirating music, and I think everybody's done this.
Everybody does it.
But like,
do you think it?
I'm not Lars Ulrich. I'm not gonna sue Napster if somebody pirates my music. So, but like,
do you think it hurts artistry though? Like, do you think like it's preventing good music from getting out there? Because I for one don't. Sorry, go on.
No.
I was just gonna say I for one think that well, here's the thing. Like if I want to see a movie and let's just say hypothetically I illegally download it, which I never would. Wink. The thing is, like, if I do that, like, I don't really have enough money to like go to the theater and see that anyways, or like maybe I just want to like fucking sit around my house and just not go out.
Yeah, whatever.
A lot of people who are gonna be like pirating shit like that. They don't have enough money to pay their $15 in the theater anyways. And I mean, I think something like Netflix is fantastic. Like $7 a month, you can just like watch all this shit. I'm happy to pay for that because it's high quality streams, great selection, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I've always said like that one of the crazy things about music or about media is that like if I bought a video camera from Best Buy and I took it home and it didn't really work right and I didn't really like the settings on it, I got like a 30-day. In Canada, you have 30 days to return something to the store and just be like, you know what, buyer's remorse, I gotta exchange this, get my refund, or get store credit. And they're like, yeah, sure. But if you go to a movie and you see some shit Michael Bay movie, sorry Michael Bay, not sorry, if you see some shit Michael Bay movie, afterwards you're like, well, fuck, I'm out of my fucking $15. You can't ask for a fucking refund on that. So that's kind of a shitty, kind of a shitty deal about media. But
well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like. It's just like going to a pub and ordering some craft beer and finding out you didn't like it at all. You take a simple
That's a really good point.
And it doesn't mean you can just go, hey, I don't want this beer, can I have another one? Here you go.
That's actually a good point. I never thought about it that way
It's the same idea, like it's a service.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way. Like, so, I mean, it allows for those sources to make money because it is really easy to pirate stuff where it's not as easy to just walk into a pub and steal a beer.
Yeah, exactly,
I mean?
yeah.
Well, I mean, like...
You wouldn't download a beer, would you?
I know.
I would Could you imagine if you download beer?
I would 3D print a beer, totally.
I would 3D print the fuck out of a beer. I would 3D print a fucking brewery, man. That'd be fucking awesome. And here's my 3D printed brewery. Fuck, that'd be great.
I think there's a hole in one of the cans. Somebody... design flaw. But no, I don't think it hinders. So like, I think it hinders the money that they're getting. The artists are getting. Yeah. So it's a lot harder for artists to live. And even bigger bands nowadays have reported that like they're making just basic wages. Like some of the biggest metal bands, like I've seen articles on. Like, are only making like $50K a year a member and stuff like that, and they're living off that. Yeah. So I mean, like that's a pretty average.
For sure.
Average money. Like that's not a luxury lifestyle.
Yeah. I suppose you could ask yourself though, like why are you making music? Are you making music because you want to like make millions of dollars, or are you making music because you fucking love making music?
No, absolutely. Like it should be because you love it. That's honestly why I do it. That's why I sit down for 4 hours and practice is because I love doing it, and not because like I'm gonna go and steal John Petrucci's spot playing guitar at Dream Theater. Yeah. Like,
and at the same time, if you love doing it and that's what you want to do, you should be able to sustain yourself on it. You should be able to like make enough money where it's like I love music so much that's all I want to do, and I can make enough money to live, so I can just make music. Like, so we wouldn't want it to get to the point of like piracy where it's like suddenly people who want to spend their whole life making amazing music for us can't because we're stealing from them. At the same time, though, when you see like rock stars who are making like crazy amounts of money and they develop like a drug addiction and then end up like dying early, like think of like Amy Winehouse or people who get involved in drugs because of the music scene who get swallowed up by the industry and like die from it. Like, there's got to be that balance there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, it's all it's all how you perceive the music industry, because like most of these people have been around for long enough to know what it can do to you, what it's all about, like the partiness of it, the whole, because of the level of energy that goes on during shows, stuff like that. So like some people, that's their outlet to kind of make sure they maintain that energy, or whatever they want to call it. Yeah. But I mean, like it's one of those things that stems down to self-control and strength, like discipline. When I'm practicing music, I discipline myself to make sure that I'm staying on track to practicing what I'm doing in the segments I set myself up for. So I'm getting a well-rounded practice rather than just goofing off and playing whatever I feel like.
Right.
So, so it's one of those things that it's all about self-control.
Yeah.
So people make a band, and I mean, like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like I think there's a lot of bands and guitarists and people, whatever, that'll get into this music industry, become famous, because, you know, they've made some more popular kind of style of music for certain age groups, and then they've become famous, and they'll get carried away with themselves.
Right.
So it's almost like a black hole kind of idea.
Right.
Like eventually it's gonna get so big that it kind of just devours itself.
Yeah.
So you can't let your ego get in the way of what your goals are.
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
I think like like you can sit here and tell me all day like it's the best guitarist I've seen in person and this and that, but like if I let that go to my head, then I've now become what others perceive to be the wrong idea of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So like it's maintaining that true to yourself kind of thing. So that's something that's often, and it's like with anything, right? It's not just music stars that it happens to. Everybody, like big oil companies, executives. It's the money aspect of things. Money does a lot to change people.
It
and
does.
I'm not saying that it wouldn't change me. I don't know. I don't have a lot of money, but but I mean, like, it's one of the. It depends. Like, some people can stay, true to themselves, and be, you know, the epitome of what they've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like that influence on other people.
Yeah.
Or they can be the people that go. Or they can be the people that make other people shake their heads. Like, nah, this is not what our idea of role model is. Yeah. So and the biggest thing with media is it does influence our children. It does influence who the young people of our societies. So we have to make sure that like it's controlled better. That's another thing I really don't like is the amount of uncensorship. No, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but in younger people, they're seeing a lot of things sooner. Things are changing. The media is becoming a lot more lenient with a lot, but
it's a little disturbing when you see like little 13-year-old girls acting like they're, you know, like 20-year-old club sluts. Or you see like these little like 13-year-old like Canadian kids acting like harshed out wiggers who pretend they're like giant gangsters and want to fucking shoot people and like rob fucking stores and sell drugs. Like it's a bad lifestyle to promote. And
I mean,
it kind of sucks as like most adults, like when they hear that stuff or see that stuff, they're like, well, obviously that's ridiculous. But when you're like a young kind of impressionable mind, it sticks with you a little bit more. So,
but people, I think, in that same sense, like have to remember that music is a business, and same with the media. That's all a business still. Yeah. So if that's gonna make them more money, it's like the same thing with drug companies too. Yeah. We can talk about it for days. Yeah. The different things that are run by money. The world is run by money.
What do you think music would be like if we didn't have money? Like if, let's say we had a system of exchange where, like, let's say I wanted you to cook me a fantastic meal, and I said, in exchange, I will play you my favorite songs on guitar for an hour. How do you think music might be different? I mean, that's a pretty big question. I get that's almost something you kind of have to sit back and be really stoned and kind of imagine. You know?
Yeah. Hold on, we need to take a rip off the ball.
Yeah.
It's. Wow, I think that would be a pretty different scenario, but like I mean, like it would have to be like that for a while.
Of course,
I mean, like there would have to be no access to certain things. Like it's almost undoubtedly like that the internet, if it was still around, even with that scenario, would ruin it. That scenario. So it's just like there's a bunch of factors. But if it were like that, it would just be. It'd be interesting. It's just like any exchange of services.
Yeah.
So like,
I think
I'm gonna teach you yoga if you record this for me. Like record me a song.
Yeah.
Like play a song for me, and it'd be I think a lot more like old times before they had anything, when they
kind of
using,
like tribal
like
music,
lute players or something.
Yeah,
like play me a song for my entertainment, and I'll let you sleep here in my inn for the night.
Yeah.
And then something like out of Skyrim or something.
Yeah. Come gather round, children. I don't know how the fucking song goes, but you know, I think of like tribal music or like indigenous music or like folk music, that kind of stuff, where it's like music that's meant to kind of like tell a story or carry a legend or carry like a tradition or culture, or to like inspire people, or to like pass on knowledge. I mean,
I think that's like all music in its own way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Okay, here's another question for you. I was talking earlier about, you know, like how music like has like this huge power to like make us feel certain ways, you know?
Right.
How you can have like a stadium filled with like screaming rock bands who are like going fucking apeshit, or like you can listen to a Philharmonic, or like for me like a Jewel song and be brought to tears from it. I
remember that. I remember when you told me that.
Yeah, I fucking love Jewel, man.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this: if you were a really successful musician, and let's say you had a stadium fucking packed with thousands of people, they all came in there to hear you specifically play your guitar, and you could play anything you wanted, what sort of feelings would you want to inspire in people through your music? What sort of things would you want to have the audience feeling as you were playing for them?
I think I'm a strong believer in dynamics in music. Things that aren't necessarily the same the whole time. So I'm a strong believer in like something can start soft, grow bigger, and then come back down. So I think it would be a wide array of emotion.
Yeah.
I think like it's almost like expressing a story like you would in words, but only using notes.
Right. What's going on out there? Downtown Calgary, folks. It'll pass. I almost want to get up and look, but fuck it.
No, I don't want to look outside now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll hear some sirens soon.
Probably, yeah. Back to what we were talking about, though. You're talking about how you want to play things, you know, like I was getting contrast from what you were saying. You know, things that start off soft and go big.
Okay, so I like dynamic contrast. You could say that. So like I said, telling a story. So some people use words to express, like in a short story or a poem. Yeah. And then the words start off as a subtle like array of what they're trying to express. Yeah. And then get deeper into more intensify what you're trying to express. So it's kind of the same way I perceive music or like a guitar solo, anything, right? Yeah. So the subtle intensity of it. Yeah. Almost.
So you basically want to if you were playing in front of like a stadium of people who came there to see you play, you want to basically like lead people through like a huge like spectrum of like feeling and emotion.
Yes, like, definitely. I want them to feel like just like they were. It's like when you so I'm gonna say it like this, like you love doing, say, you love cooking. Yeah. Cool. I want to learn how to make this dining dish. Yeah. And you say Gordon Ramsay's your teacher, somebody like iconic or something to you, or whatever it is. Like you're getting taught how to make this dish by Gordon Ramsay. Yeah. Okay. So I want that feeling to come across in the expressions of people's faces when they hear the music.
Where you take a bite of something and you're not just like, ooh, this is warm and salty. You're more like,
you're tasting
ooh,
all
this
the
is kind
flavors.
of like tart, and now it's kind of salty, and now it's kind of savory,
exactly
and now
there.
there's this like huge.
That's a better analogy. Yeah, that's a way better analogy.
Huge, full, colorful range.
Yeah, so you're getting all the flavors. Yeah. And you have this thirst for more at the end. You're like, you're blown away. You're excited. You're happy, right? It's not like there's a lot of music that's about sadness. There's a lot of music that tells stories like that. I'm a big into the happy feeling person. Like when somebody's like, wow, that was amazing, or this is great. Like that's how I wanted it to sound, or this and that. Like, I want people to feel that way. Right? That's how I want people to feel. I don't want to play mindless notes in a row.
Are you saying like you wouldn't want to play something where it's just like here's something that's like but let me put it this way, like when you're talking about like contrast and like a fullness of sound, like some bands, they're just kind of like they're very good, but they're down tempo. They play sort of maybe sadder music. Some bands are just kind of like happy and poppy all the time. You'd want something that has like a full fucking range of contrast where you can kind of like dig into people's emotions and carry them different places.
Yeah, and I mean like. And there's a lot of different styles of music that can do that, right? Like even including like something slower, it can lead you down a bunch of different feelings. But it's just how you go about it that is the way that you would want people. So like because I'm a guitarist, I might do it differently than a singer would of like a gospel band or something. Like it's just how I would portray feeling in my guitar playing, because like I'm not using words. It's sadness on a guitar. I mean, it's possible. Like I guess, like I think Jimi Hendrix did it. His guitar cry. But it's just.
Well, here's my follow-up question to all of that. Then, why would you want to make people be able to feel that through your music? Why would you want to give people that?
Because people want to feel emotion. I think that's why what people like. People, I think, anytime. If I was at a concert, I would want to feel emotion. I would want to know. I want to hear expression. I want to be like, wow, like the smoothness of this and that. Like I would analyze it musically or something, but like I would want a listener to be take something away from it. Like, like no, it's something good. The same like as if somebody was singing a song, like those lyrics really touched me. That playing really touched me. Like I'd want that. I don't know how else to say it.
You'd want to give somebody like an intense positive emotion, like a
I think because like I think people want to be happy, and music media is a huge escape for some people. Like, and not necessarily escape, just like more of a happy place, whatever you want to call it.
Almost like a channeling sometimes. Where it's like you have an outlet, you can listen to something.
So it's the same kind of deal. So so all that kind of stuff is what I feel music is, and I think like if I come home and I've had a really crappy day at work, for instance, or like I'm just not happy. And I want to play guitar. That'll make me happy. I'll express myself through that, and that'll make me happy. So that's how I'd want to make other people feel when I played too.
Right. That's fucking powerful shit, dude. That is like crazy fucking powerful shit. I mean, like, because we all have it where like, you're having like a shitty day and it's like you come home and you put on like some of your favorite tunes and suddenly like you actually legitimately fucking feel better. And so like to master a craft where you can design sounds that do that for people, that's like crazy powerful. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's fun. Like I always had a goal to do it, to just be able to play what I wanted. So that was a good goal to reach. I still think I'm shitty as fuck though. Every time somebody tells me I'm like, and then I look at my favorite player, I'm just like, I need to just practice for 4 more hours. Dude, I know exactly what you mean, and that's like
it's never enough, right?
You got to maintain that balance where it's like you can like. Okay, like for me, like I've gotten into painting recently, or like making videos. Even my best videos, I can look at and be like, ooh, I wish I could just go back and edit that and change that and make it better. Or like, I'll paint something and all my friends are like, oh, that looks fucking awesome. I'm like, oh yeah, but see this little shadow here and this thing, I did all this wrong. it's good to have a perspective where like you think you can always improve, because the second you're like, yep, I'm fucking awesome, then you risk that kind of ego douchebag, right? And
yeah,
then,
totally.
Yeah, so it's always good to like find ways that you can improve, but it's also a bad thing to be like, you know what, I'm never gonna be as good as I want to be, so I'm not gonna try anymore.
Well, here's like I'm not sure who we kind of disagreed on. I don't think it was you, but I one of our mutual friends maybe.
Yeah.
I've always had this. Everyone says like practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
I've always disagreed with that. Because practice makes progress, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that.
You may have goals. You can set goals.
That's fucking fantastic.
You can set goals for yourself.
Yeah.
You can meet those goals, but that doesn't mean you're perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Nobody will ever be perfect.
Exactly. Like, so practice always makes progress.
Yeah.
And working towards something is progress. But perfection is a really lenient term, I find, and that's not how I view it.
So, how about we wrap the video up with one final question? If you could give like some advice to, like, let's say people who are really into music, who want to like learn guitar, who want to like practice their craft more, they're passionate about music, or maybe they're just starting, or maybe they've been doing it for a while. If you could give like pieces of advice to people who want music to be their thing, what sort of things would you tell them about music?
Well, I think nowadays, especially for guitarists, like guitarists use tab. It's very rare where you find people that are learning to read music nowadays. Like guitar teachers, if you get a guitar teacher, in all likelihood, you're gonna get somebody who's gonna try and teach you how to read music and learn chords.
Yeah. To
start out, and I've always found that's a waste of your money and time, because chords are great. You can learn that on YouTube. You can find a chord chart and with the fingerings for chords.
That's what I did.
You can
noodle around a little bit.
You can do that on your own time. You can find out what note is what on a scale and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like teaching somebody how to properly hold a guitar, properly place their hand, use their hands properly, fingers properly, how to properly like make a sound.
Yeah.
Is the most important thing, because in all honesty, it's all sound.
Yeah.
It's making those sounds. Like you could be putting your fingers on the notes and strumming, but you may have obstructions in other areas and improper form, and that'll hinder your playing.
Right.
So I think that, and that being said, so for recommendations for people, like I recommend practicing. You can get a guitar teacher if you want to, but when you practice. Practice something that makes you want to play. Like, I think fooling around isn't necessarily a bad thing to start out. It allows you to figure things out for yourself almost.
Right.
Play enough to where you're getting something out of it. Don't stop short. Make sure you've learned something every time.
Right.
Take away something from every experience. And sit there, if you have a favorite song, say you're a metal guitarist and you really like Metallica or something, try and learn your favorite Metallica song. There's a bunch of tabs on websites, grab it. Yeah. Or like whatever piano playing, like I really like this song by Mozart, learn it. Like sit there and take the time. And you know what? Practice always makes progress, like I said. So the more you enjoy yourself playing, the more you're going to learn from yourself and the way you play.
Right.
You're going to realize that there's certain mistakes you're making, and you're going to adapt to those naturally. It's all like a muscle memory kind of thing, for me anyways, now at this point. So it's all getting used to things. You can also learn in a bad way too, and develop bad habits like anything, in any profession, I guess, or anything. Yeah. So it's about learning what are good habits and what are bad habits, and then making sure you're not using any of those bad habits, and then pretty much doing whatever you want.
Yeah.
Feel like, hey, today I feel like learning a jazz song. Look up a jazz song, an easy jazz song or something, and like
something that you like and enjoy.
Yeah, be like something like, oh, this sounds great. I want to learn how to play this.
Yeah,
look it up. It's so easy to find on the internet now. But the best thing to do is play. Even if you're doing nonsense for 3 hours straight and you're having fun, it's better than sitting around for half an hour trying to play the same chord and not getting it.
Right.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, man.
So
I can even say that from my own personal experience. Like some of the way I learned to play guitar is like wanting to play, you know, like certain songs for certain people, or like, you know, a song that really meant something to me.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if I can learn how to play this.
Yeah, and you know, you've been practicing trying to get to the same chord.
Yeah.
Like, oh, but I keep screwing up that transition to the next chord.
Yeah.
So I gotta keep practicing that, and then you get burnt out and you don't try.
Yeah.
But the idea is, no, just there's so many chords you can find. You can put your fingers on different strings and find new chords like that you may not see on a basic chord list that go into really far into the instrument kind of knowledge. And then you eventually start figuring out chords for yourself and how to transition quickly between like easier chords that you may find easier to get to, and then you'll get better overall. You get your finger strength, and then next thing you know, you're doing it, right? So it's
fucking A. Yeah,
it's all about finding yourself in the instrument and making sure you're doing what you want to do. I find guitar teachers kind of tell you, I want you to practice this, and I want you to fill out this chart and bring it back to me for next week. And then you feel like it's a chore, and you're paying for this chore.
Right.
Invest that extra money in a nicer instrument, so it sounds nicer, so you enjoy playing it more.
Right.
Kind of thing. Like it all helps.
Yeah.
That all helps you develop.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that, man. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll wrap things up here. That was fucking fantastic. I really enjoyed that. So I don't know. Let's fucking do that shit again. I'm motherfucking Johnny Oldschool for Third Voice. This is my fucking buddy Taylor, and I don't know. Maybe we'll sit down and do another one of these videos together. Expect to see a lot more videos like this in the future. I'm just kind of getting started with this channel and whatnot. And yeah, thanks for watching, fuckos.
Take care.